Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by three local nonprofits, NaperVoice, NAMI DuPage, and Ride Assist Naperville.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from NaperVoice are Philip Spencer and Jennifer Zenayat. Welcome to the show. Really nice to have you both with us today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's always nice to come back, right?
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about NaperVoice. And Philip, obviously you founded it and got it started. Love that story. But talk a little bit about the mission and how you really impact the community.
All right. I can't believe this is our sixth concert coming up. We've been in existence nearly 3 years now. Still have the same excitement about the organization because of the community impact that we have. Our mission is sing well, do good. So we've given now over $12,000 to 5 different community nonprofits like ourselves, all sorts of things from food pantries to Conservation Foundation, groups that work with youth. So we're very proud of that. We've given paid employment to some of our singers too, which is good. So we offer volunteer and paid opportunities, and we've even given paid internships to high school and college musicians as a part of that. So, and of course the educational and entertainment aspect of what we do too for the community. So I feel like at this point we're sort of a recognized arts organization in Naperville.
Yeah.
We may still be the newest one, I think, but we're a part of the community now. We're still unique in the fact that we're the only totally philanthropic musical organization that I know, not only in Naperville, but I think perhaps the western suburbs too. So we're proud of that mission, that philanthropic part of our mission, but I also want to make music of the very highest quality every time.
Yeah, I love that. Sing well, do good. It's a great little tagline, and I do think you're giving joy, but you're also giving support, and that's does make it kind of a unique one. Jennifer, you've been around a little bit, not quite as long as Philip yet, but you've been with the organization. How would you say is the best way to inspire others to join your cause?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, attending our concerts is a great way to come and support the cause. I see everyone so uplifted after they leave and hear us sing, and there's a real sense of community. So coming and attending, but also if you are a local musician, you can come and sing with us. We have auditions before every concert cycle. So I definitely encourage you to get involved that way as well. And then following us on social media as well and spreading the word to your friends and family about what we do.
Okay. And so it definitely is an audition choir, right?
It just wanted to make
it. Say a little more about that, Philip.
Yeah, so I think I've auditioned nearly 70 people now over the course of the last 3 years. Everyone has an audition with me, a one-on-one audition that lasts 45 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
So it's a wide-ranging musical audition. It's in depth. I wouldn't say it's too scary, but it's broad. It's not rushed. And then I take a little bit of time to talk with the person too, because we're looking for a certain kind of person that's committed to our mission and not just a certain type of musician. So I think we've done really well to have fine, gracious, generous people that are in this choir, as well as really excellent musicians. So, but it's a long process. I started in January now. Several evenings a week, and then I started after our concert. I'll start again in late July and August, and go through the auditions. So the continuing members don't need to re-audition, but new members do, and we keep about a 75% return rate every single time. But so there's a few openings that need to be auditioned for each time. But yeah, we're pretty proud of the fact that when you say it's auditioned, it already sets a certain musical expectation for everyone. So it's helpful.
And kind of what's the range of, youngest singer to oldest singer?
Oh, well, our youngest singer is about 20. So just a couple of years younger than Jennifer. And our oldest singer, I think, is 75, 76. And everything in between. It skews toward 20 and 30 somethings, but we've got people from every decade that are member of the choir, and they're from over 20 different communities surrounding Naperville. So we think our diversity is pretty good. So.
Good. So you're meeting a lot of new people.
Absolutely. It's great. I've made friends and it's really wonderful. Yeah.
Good, good. 2025, what is the concept this year? What are you looking forward to?
Well, our spring concert is going to be a sequel to one we did 2 years ago, which was entitled Singing Our Superpowers.
Yes, I loved that. That was great, yeah.
This time it's Singing More Superpowers. So the general, and you know, I love a thematic concert. I always try to, I want our audiences to learn things as well as enjoying the music. So these pieces this time are going to deal with the superpowers of our emotions and our love and our hope and our courage.
Okay.
So
all needed in the world?
Yes, all needed in the world. And there'll be some challenges, I think, as a part of this. Our major work is a challenging piece about a tragic story that happened in the late 90s. It's called Considering Matthew Shepard, about a young man out in Wyoming. So I won't say more than this at the time because we want the people to come hear the piece, but I think it's a very moving, extremely significant and important piece in this century. So.
Okay. So that kind of leads me to my question to you, Jennifer.
Yes.
What have you learned in the younger area of the choir? What have you learned professionally? How has this helped you grow personally?
Sure, yeah. So as Phil mentioned, there's, quite the diverse group of folks in this choir, and I'm someone where music is not my day job. We have an amazing, some folks are music teachers or they're immersed in music during the day, but I'm someone that I've been singing my entire life. However, I don't do that for my day job. So I miss music, and it's easy to have it baked into school and college and things, but you can really find a disconnect when you're a busy adult trying to get back into singing. So that's been really amazing to have that outlet. We do rehearse on Monday nights, and Mondays, of course, are not everyone's favorite day, but now they're the best day because of NaperVoice. So that's been really wonderful. And then just getting connected to the community. I'm also not from this area, so I've lived here for several years, but I feel like I've learned so much about Naperville and the charities that we work with, and made friends. So I think that there's something for everyone with NaperVoice, whether you're a music teacher or not, or have a different job.
Yeah, that certainly, I mean, it broadens your perspective.
It definitely does.
But also increases your connections.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would just add to that I've lived here 30 years, but I've never worked in Naperville. So in starting this choir, I wanted to connect to the community too and give back myself. This is a charitable gift of my skills to the community. So I'm a volunteer in a sense, like all these other people, which gives me great delight.
Yeah.
But to have an impact on this wonderful community and to see people come into the community from these other communities that support us is great. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. As we wrap up, how can people help you? What can somebody do to help you?
Come to our concerts, first of all, I think. We've had sellout crowds at every one of the 5 we've had so far. So I would recommend getting tickets ahead of time. But that's the first thing, is come and support, enjoy the music, consider singing with us. I love volunteers as much as the paid singers, perhaps even more because I've worked with volunteers all my life. And that motivation that a volunteer has for any activity is extremely motivating to me. It comes from the heart, and that's what music should be about. So I would say come to the concert, consider singing with us, and certainly support the charities that we raise money for at these concerts, the various charities. Give them greater support as well, beyond just coming to our concert.
Okay.
And I would even say support NCTV
we'll take that.
for hosting people like us and letting us tell our story. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, there are good stories, and that's our job in life, is to tell the great stories and make sure people have that information.
We're grateful about that.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was great. I mean, and also engaging with us on social media. As the director of publicity, I have to say that. So spreading the word on social media to like friends and family really helps us.
Okay. Like and follow.
Like and follow. That's right.
Thank you both so much for coming by. We appreciate you. We wish you all the best with the concert.
Thank you.
Okay. If you would like to learn more about NaperVoice, please visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more Spotlight.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the Colleges Paid For dream. This is the Retire Early dream. This is Busey. where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now from NAMI DuPage is Jerry Kerger. So good to see you.
So nice to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always fun to have you, Jerry. So we're going to just start right off with the mission. So talk a little bit about the mission and that mission's impact in our community.
NAMI DuPage provides education, support, and advocacy in order to improve the lives of people living with mental illness and their families. So we do that through support groups, through classes, through recreational activities. We do presentations in hospitals. We see about 15,000 students a year in DuPage schools to provide mental health education. And I guess to kind of summarize it, is I would say we're often the first phone call that someone makes when they find out that a loved one has a mental health diagnosis. And sometimes we remain with those people because mental illness is usually chronic, for decades. And so I think we provide for many people. We celebrate the wins when there are wins, because there are many, and we sustain them through the challenges. So that's how I like to think of the organization.
Okay, and I like that you say we're often the first call. Why do you think that is?
People don't know where to go. If you had a cancer diagnosis, before you got home, you'd probably have 2 or 3 casseroles. Okay, people don't talk about mental illness, and there's still a lot of stigma. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still a lot of stigma, and so it's not like people will call you up and tell you about their mental illness all the time.
Yeah, give you a referral, right?
Yeah. So with cancer, you'll have lots of people that will call you and say, "Well, this is what I had," and so we provide that because that's really the heart of what we do, is the lived experience.
Okay. And talk a little bit, in terms of common misperceptions with mental health, because you mentioned the word stigma. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, sometimes when I do a presentation, I'll ask people in the beginning, okay, close your eyes and for 3 seconds, think about, if I said, who has mental illness, who pops into your mind? Who are the people that pop into your mind? And people will say, oh, Jack Nicholson at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Sally Field and Sybil, okay? Nobody raises their hand to say Abraham Lincoln, okay? Or Winston Churchill, Michelangelo, Beethoven. We have such a negative perception of mental illness that it really goes into the stigma. And another thing that we do is we think that people can snap out of it. We don't realize that there's a huge biological and chemical component to most mental illnesses, so people don't have control. So when you say snap out of it, it's like telling someone who's deaf, listen harder. And so a lot of times people think too, well, mental illness, well, we can prevent it. If people aren't isolated, if parents are great parents, if we send our kids to the right schools or preschools, if they have activities, there won't be mental illness. And it's simply, in most cases, it's not possible to prevent. What we have to work on is getting an early intervention, so people get diagnosis and help earlier. Because right now it's about 10 years between the time of symptoms first presenting until treatment. So we need to shorten that.
Yeah.
So let's not say, okay, if you have friends and activities and you're in sports, you're okay.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case.
Is that a big part of what you're doing with your when you talked about the mental health education with students? Is it trying to explain to them what that looks like? So,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And that it's okay to get help. See, if we talk about physical health so much easier. So if a person had a cavity, you'd probably want to get it filled, right?
Right.
But what we're talking about for so many people, if you have an analogy there, is that instead of filling the cavity, they whiten their teeth or they get braces. Okay, it looks great.
Yeah.
You look great, but you still have that
cavity.
And if you don't take care of it, it's only going to get worse. You're going to need a root canal, or maybe you'll lose your teeth. It's the same with mental health.
Okay.
You have to take care of what the problem is. You can do all these other things, eat right and exercise, all wonderful for you. but you're still a person that has untreated mental illness.
Okay.
So-
No, I think those analogies, they're very helpful. They're very helpful to think about. So give me just an impactful story, or I'm sure you've got many, that really brings your mission to life, Jerry.
Well, I think we deal with a lot of sadness, obviously, and a lot of loss. But I could only do this work because I see so many transformations and I see so much positive value in what we do. And about 5 or 6 years ago, we had a young man that came to us, early 20s or late teens, and his family, it came along and they were just very distraught. He had substance use disorder. He had several mental illnesses. He had been to rehab. And when he came back from rehab, they went to a psychiatrist, and the parents are like, well, what's next? What do we do? And the psychiatrist told them, this is their quote, he sent them running to NAMI DuPage. And so they got involved in our programs, the Parents Access Services, so did Connor Access Services. And now the parents do programs for us, Connor does some programs for us, and Connor is about to start graduate school in clinical psychology. So he's going to be a clinician.
Oh,
So it's
so proud.
really
What a proud moment.
I mean, it is. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm a third parent. That it's so wonderful when you see those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And you know that it's possible, because if you saw him at his worst in his mental illness, you might not think that this would ever. I mean, he says he didn't think he was going to survive.
Yeah.
And
Something you've said before, and that story just sort of, I think, really illustrates it, because you talk always about the family. And that sounds like part of that success story, right, is that the family got heavily involved and came alongside, right?
the family is really a big key to, that's really what NAMI emphasizes. There are so many people that you see that maybe they're homeless or alienated from their families, but if families get the education that they need of how to talk to their loved one, how to connect with them, they can still maintain relationships most time. And if you have that extra support, sometimes that's the difference between being able to get into recovery and not. So it's crucial.
Yeah. So Jerry, you've got a very exciting milestone coming up, your 40th anniversary. Talk a little bit about how you're going to celebrate and any new initiatives that you're starting out as you mark that 40th.
Well, it is a very exciting year for us. We have lots of things going on for the year. May is Mental Health Month, but we have a whole year full of excitement. We have different fundraising events. We're having a guest speaker at our gala who wrote a book on mental illness in a era of silence. We'll be doing all kinds of workshops throughout the whole year, a lot of things for families as well as individuals. But another thing, aside from the typical anniversary things, it's caused us to go back and look and see where the gaps in services are. And one of the things that we'd really like to do is start a second site, which would have a after-school program for teens that would really offer mental health kinds of services, be a place where kids could go if they have been maybe in and out of the hospital or have, more serious types of illnesses. We'd like to do a lot more work with parents. And we also would like to work with emerging adults, because a lot of people in the group after high school into their early 30s perhaps are extremely lonely.
Yeah.
And their friends have gone off to school or have jobs or starting families. And a lot of people in those age groups are become really depressed and isolated. So we'd like to do more with them as well.
Okay.
And if we have the time, we, in the space, that what we'd like to do is also offer in that space during the early morning hours when teens and parents aren't around, we'd like to have things for seniors, because seniors right now are one of the highest increasing levels of depression and suicide.
Yeah.
So if we could have a space where we can utilize all of those things, we really want to target people who are most at risk of mental illness. And that's really what we're looking at. So we've been thinking about this for a few years and looking where the gaps are and seeing what we could do. But we are in the process of evaluating things, and I welcome input from people. People
That's
can
great.
call me up and meet with me. If you have ideas, I'd love to hear them. And because we know that the stakeholders in the community, we want to serve them. So we welcome conversation.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's a great way to kick off your 40th anniversary.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Yeah. And if you would like to find out more about NAMI DuPage, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
This is the When Art Flourishes, Everyone Flourishes commitment. This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from Ride Assist Naperville are Rich Frichet and Rosa Alamillo. So Rich, let's start out with you, shall we? Why did you pick this organization to volunteer for?
I was going to a volunteer event fair, and it happened to be at a local neighborhood brewery, and I thought, well, two things I love the most. And so I was going around, and as I'm looking at the different vendors that were there, the Ride Assist Naperville caught my eye.
Okay.
And so I asked a few questions. I do volunteer quite a bit, and I thought, well, I don't know if I'm sure when I'll take one more on. But they said it's very flexible, and they talked about what it involved in taking seniors, waiting with them in the waiting room, and then taking them back. And I'm like, that sounds really fun. I think I might like to try that. And sure enough, I applied for it, had an interview with the executive director, enjoyed that. And after I took my first, few clients, I'm like, I really like this. So that was how I first found it.
Okay.
And it was a great find.
Okay. And what's your why now? So you found it, you liked it originally. What's your why? What's your perspective on it?
I am meeting the most amazing seniors. They love to share their stories. And I am just fascinated by the different seniors I've met. I've met business owners. I've met CEOs. I've met a gentleman who him and his wife sailed all over the Great Lakes. And through different rides with these seniors, I've gotten to hear their stories. And sometimes a senior this may be the only chance they do to get out. And so they'll talk, and it's wonderful. But some are very interactive, and I just learned so much.
Oh, I love that.
And I feel almost honored that I'm getting the privilege of getting those glimpses into their lives.
I love that. What a great why. That's an awesome why. Well, and that leads us to you, Rosa. So
Yes.
what's your story? Tell us your story.
Well, my story is that I came to learn about Ride Assist when one young lady, when I needed a ride to go to the Wheaton Eye Clinic. And somebody rang the bell bringing my food, my Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
And when I got there, I said, excuse me, I was on the phone. I was trying to get a ride, hold on. And then she said, what do you need? I said, I need a ride to Wheaton. And it's this Wednesday. And she said, wait a minute, let me look at my calendar. Her name was Ann. And she said, well, you know what? I can take you. And so that's how I learned about Naperville Ride Assist.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it has helped me so much because I have a problem, as you can see, walking. I use a walker, and I've had a car accident. And after that, it was very difficult. I had caregivers who were helpful, but they couldn't take me everywhere.
Right.
So with this, it really made a difference. And I also have a sister who was trying to help me out, but she couldn't do everything. She works all day, and so for somebody like me, it's very helpful. So
yeah, it takes a little bit of the pressure. Well, helps you, takes the pressure off your family,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And gives you a consistent. You're going to get to your appointments.
yes, and on time.
Yes.
Yeah, and on time. And I know now. I mean, if we don't get there, there's also a charge. So for seniors, I think they have to think about that. I have to be there, and I have to be on time, and
Yeah.
so it's helped me very much. And plus, I've met so many people, very interesting people, like as he said, some were lawyers, some were doing handiwork, and now they're doing other things, and so it was very interesting.
You're also getting a story.
Yes,
It's kind of going
yes.
both ways.
I have
It's a win-win, absolutely.
Yes, I have
yeah.
so many people, and they tell me their stories. Some are from Brazil, from different countries, And so I said, wow. So, and I just met a man from Russia, and someone else from Israel. Yeah.
So you're kind of getting a tour around the world.
Around
You're
the
getting to the
world,
weeknight
too.
clinic.
Yes.
Love that. Love
Go
that.
to the weeknight clinic and go around the world.
That's great. That's
It's
great.
around Naperville too.
Yes,
So-
yes. Well, that's good. But so, with that story, Rich, as you think about how do you keep the volunteers motivated? What do you need to do in that? Because, also sometimes it's people are being isolated. They've got to go to medical appointments. That can be, maybe the news is not so good. How do you keep the volunteers motivated?
Well, sometimes the news isn't good. What I actually, again, feel honored about, they will share their stories. And sometimes the stories are what they're having to deal with when we take them. So as a volunteer, you're listening and allowing them the opportunity for them also to talk about what's, what they're dealing with, what's going on, and provide that, feedback for them too. But to keep motivated, after driving a lot of people around, there are the different folks with the different stories, right? So some are doing a great mood, some just will be celebrating an event coming up, some will be going to a wedding soon, some just got back from something. So you hear, again, going back to the different stories, but the motivational factor just comes is when you're done and you're taking them back home and they're thanking you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it could, when someone thanks you, not just from the bottom of their heart, but from who they are. Everything's worth it. And you almost get addicted to that. You think you're doing a good thing, but when they're thanking you for that, oh my gosh, that's what keeps the motivation going right there.
I love that. The power of a thank you is very, very important.
When the way it's said,
Yes.
sometimes it just chills you.
Yeah. Rose, what would you say to somebody who is in your position or a position similar, a senior who needs Ride? What advice would you give to them? Why should they sign up for RAN?
Well, I've already had people ask me, as I said, delivery people, Meals on Wheels, they've asked me, well, what do you use? And then I explained to them, this is what happened to me. And really, I didn't know about that. And so they're so encouraged. And they don't have to call other means of assistance. And it could be 2 rides a week and they're set. So I really enjoy really explaining to them. And there might be people that are really in dire need of these services. People who have walkers and have other eye problems, as myself, and so many other things. So I've really had a lot of people thank me, which I've even prayed for people that, they were so thankful to me. So
Yeah.
So,
it's nice to be able to connect people with things that
really,
are helpful, right?
I have really connected with a lot of people,
Oh, that's
which
great.
really surprised me.
Well, you're the brand ambassador.
I guess
love
so.
that. The RAN
Yes,
brand ambassador.
I
It's
guess
Rosa.
so, yeah. Go around the world with Rose.
That's great. That's great. Rich, what would you say to somebody who might be thinking about, this sounds like it could be a volunteer stint for me? What would you say?
I would highly encourage anybody to give this a try.
Okay.
Like anything we do in life, once you kind of get out of your bubble a little bit, when you start taking on more than maybe something that makes you nervous, you just try it. In doing that, you'll find you'll have wonderful experiences, and there's nothing to lose by trying this out. You may gain some friends along the way, and you're going to have a wonderful experience meeting people who, again, are appreciative of what you're doing, and you get to make a new friend.
Yeah, that's great. And I think you said it off the top, right? It's flexible. So
It's very flexible.
And I think, people
Yes.
need that. They
We
need
get to
that
decide
flexibility.
who we choose, what our schedules are. And typically once a week, I'll go more like maybe like on Thursday or Friday. I'll say, okay, I got a couple days free next week. Let's see who's on the list that needs a ride. And that's how I schedule it. So it's completely at my discretion, which makes things so much easier.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, listen, thank you both so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so
And
much.
keep
Yes.
riding Naperville, right?
Yes, I
Right
will.
on. Yep.
For more information about Ride Assist Naperville, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.